Let's begin this hour with that deadly shooting and fire at a church in Michigan. Authorities say at least 4 people are dead and 8 others injured during service on Sunday. They say a man drove a vehicle through the front doors of a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saint building in Grand Blanc Township. That's a community about an hour northwest of Detroit. And authorities say he opened fire. The 40-year-old suspect was then killed in a shootout with police. Before the suspect was taken down, investigators say he used an accelerant to start a fire. Those massive flames destroyed the sanctuary of the church. We're going to bring you analysis on the investigation in a moment, but first, let's go on the ground to Grand Blanc, where NBC News correspondent Maggie Vespa is outside the church with the latest. Maggie, good morning.
Hey there. Authorities, including the FBI and ATF, say first responders today will be carefully combing through the burned rubble of that church, which is just down the way here, telling us some people are still unaccounted for. The gunman yesterday dying in a shootout with police, leaving investigators now to dig into both his background and his seemingly elaborate plot to kill. In Grand Blanc, Michigan, authorities searching for a motive in a horrifying mass shooting at a church set ablaze.
We have an active shooter at the church. The building is also on fire.
Authorities say 40-year-old Thomas Jacob Sanford crashed a truck into the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints during Sunday worship and immediately started shooting at parishioners with an assault rifle.
We heard a big bang and it blew the doors in the church, and then everything after that was chaos.
Adults rushing to shield children from the barrage of bullets. Authorities say Sanford then poured gasoline in the church and set it on fire. 2 senior U.S. law enforcement officials briefed on the investigation, telling NBC News as many as 3 improvised devices were found at the scene. They say it's not clear whether they were incendiary or explosive devices. This morning, investigators say at least 4 people are dead and 8 others injured. Authorities later vetting bomb threats at other area churches.
This act of violence has no place in our state or anywhere else in our country.
Authorities say Sanford, who lived in the area and according to an NBC News review had no criminal history, died during a shootout with police. His motive or potential connection to the church unclear. Sanford was in the Marines from 2004 to 2008, the Marine Corps confirming he was an Iraq War veteran. Overnight, SWAT teams searching his home for clues. President Trump Sunday posting about Michigan, writing in part, "This appears to be yet another targeted attack on Christians in the United States of America." Michigan's Governor Gretchen Whitmer writing, "Violence anywhere, especially in a place of worship, is unacceptable."
Never have I ever heard of anything happening like this ever in my life. I'm completely distraught.
Authorities this morning not naming any of the victims, and it's worth noting NBC News attempted to reach out to the wife and the parents of the alleged shooter. So far, no response. Back to you.
All right, Maggie, thank you so much. For more, we're joined now by NBC News law enforcement analyst, former Secret Service Special Agent Evie Pompouris. Evie, good to have you with us. As we heard there, the FBI says it's investigating this as a targeted violent attack. Obviously, the alleged gunman is dead now. So how does this investigation move forward?
You know, it's quite unclear with this one as far as trying to get a motive together. Sometimes when we have these events, we're able kind of to deduce a couple of things right from the onset. Interviews are going to be a really big thing. Family members, places of work, anything there. Military records are going to help here as well, because that's going to give us some documentation to any maybe historic issues with the person and mental health issues with that individual. He did 4 years. Maybe there was a reason why he only did 4 years or just did 1 tour and then was done. Also, we're going to look at history. How long was he planning this attack? Right? That gives us an idea into what was going on. And I'm always, whenever I see these types of attacks, which sadly we're seeing so often, the first question in my head is always, why now? Right? Yeah. You're 40 years old. You've gone through the majority of your adult life not doing anything. So why did you pick this moment on this day? What happened? And it is being called a targeted act of violence. But again, are you targeting the church? Are you targeting the community? Is there an ideology behind what you are doing? These are the concerns. Now, the wonderful thing with technology, you get the subpoenas and you go through people's search history. What was he searching? What was he looking at? What was he reading? What was he posting? Those things are really, going to give you the greatest information. Nobody knows you better. One of my investigator friends, nobody knows you better than the Google or the search engines, because you will ask that questions you would never ask another human being.
And we know authorities did search the suspect's home yesterday. I mean, do you think that's the primary thing investigators were looking for right there? What else would they be looking at?
You're going to go straight to the home because you're going to see what's in the house, IEDs, which from what we're hearing, there were some. Now, we also heard reports of other bomb threats coming in, but those came in after the fact, after this incident was reported. So I would suspect that they're separate. They have nothing to do with one another. Going to residences, are there any other places he frequented? Workplaces. You want to check those locations. You're looking for physical evidence. You're talking to neighbors, too, people in the community. And just even from a security perspective, now let's separate this. Everyone's on heightened alert at this point. All police, we're looking at heightened alert at churches. We're looking at heightened alert at schools. We're looking at heightened alerts at universities. I mean, every week we're reporting, and we're only reporting on the big ones, right? And so we are really in a state of just very heightened alert, heightened awareness. It's a sad place to be, but local authorities across the country at this point are just hyper aware. And, you know, so should individuals be. Again, we don't want to live in fear, but I do think we're in a place where if we're seeing things, we're hearing people say stuff, we want to pay attention. And going back to our shooter here at this moment, we're very lucky. Police responded within 30 seconds of this happening, which is a big thing, because the amount of damage somebody can do with even another 30 seconds or an extra minute is you can't even calculate that. So I suspect that we would have had, although the church is destroyed, I think we would have had much more mass casualties had police not come within that 30-second arrival.
The southeastern part of the United States is bracing for potentially deadly riptides and flooding. Two major storms, Hurricane Umberto and Tropical Storm Imelda, are on the move in the Atlantic. Now, they're not expected to directly hit the U.S., but their impact will be felt. NBC News correspondent Jesse Kirsch is in Folly Beach, South Carolina, near Charleston. He joins us with the latest. Jesse, good morning.
Hey, Joe, good morning. Despite the risk of high waves and rip currents, we've got surfers out here right now in the Charleston area, and we've noticed a couple of those waves starting to really pick up. But by and large, we're looking at dangerous conditions on East Coast beaches, particularly in the southeast. Despite all of that, it appears that Imelda's worst should be staying far away from the U.S. mainland.
This morning, Tropical Storm Imelda is expected to reach hurricane strength. The storm already blowing through the Bahamas as coastal communities from Florida to the Carolinas spent the weekend getting ready for Imelda's worst.
We've got the water at the house and plenty of canned goods, so it should be okay. We'll ride out the storm like we always have.
But thanks to Hurricane Umberto's pull, forecasters are predicting Imelda will not make landfall in the U.S.
You're still not taking chances?
No. Take precautions, you know.
The storm is expected to hook out to sea, but could still potentially bring flooding downpours and rip currents to the East Coast. Officials in places like Isle of Palm, South Carolina, concerned.
Our beach has been impacted pretty greatly over the last couple of years during hurricane season. So we have a lot of beach erosion and flooding.
And you don't need landfall for that to still be a concern?
Absolutely not.
In Florida's Daytona Beach area, they're anticipating 6 to 10-foot waves.
This is not the week to go swimming at the beach.
No, absolutely not. As the rip currents are extremely dangerous right now, as much as we hate to say it, our recommendation is to stay out of the water right now.
While the East Coast watches Imelda closely, parts of Arizona are recovering from catastrophic flooding that killed at least 3 people over the weekend.
Flood came through our shop. We lost everything.
We've had a little bit of a misting here this morning, but we are expecting potentially some heavy rains. There is flooding potential as well, and the worst of what we're expected to see in the Charleston area should be moving in tonight. Joe.
All right, Jesse, thank you so much. Let's get the latest on what to expect in the tropics. Angie Lastman is here with the forecast. Angie, good morning.
Hi there, Joe. Good morning. Jesse covered a bit of what is really the good news from this system, which is we're expecting Tropical Storm Imelda to pull away from the United States. We're not expecting a direct landfall, but we've got a couple of things to talk about between now and then. Hurricane Umberto, of course, still a Category 4. We've got Tropical Tropical Storm Imelda sitting just off the coast of Florida. And both of these systems we're going to be watching over the next couple of days for indirect impacts in some ways to some locations. So 145-mile-per-hour winds from Umberto, Category 4, as I mentioned, 50-mile-per-hour winds from Imelda, and moving north at 9 miles per hour. So here's what happens. We eventually see the system work a little farther to the north and then bank east, really, as we get into the later parts of today and into early tomorrow. It does intensify beyond that, and you'll notice Bermuda down the line, say end of week, we could be looking at the potential for some impacts for folks there. Beyond that, into the weekend, this system will start to weaken. The good news is, as I mentioned, we're not going to see any landfall here in this region, but we've got a whole lot of things going on. We've got an area of low pressure sitting over the southeastern United States. That's pushing that storm to the north. So that's why you're still seeing it moving north today. Then we've got an area of high pressure that's kind of steering Imelda north here as well, near Bermuda. And this is going to leave us with some things that happen tomorrow. The low shifts a little farther to the east. That's what pushes Imelda farther to the east. And Umberto has given us a little bit of a weakening in that high pressure, so you can see where that path comes in. So good news, of course, for folks in the Carolinas, folks along the east coast of Florida that had been watching to see how that would impact them. Now, we're not going to be without any impacts. I think the indirect impacts will be there. So the heavy rain in some spots, we could potentially see some flash flooding over the next couple of days across these regions. And Joe, we'll still see some gusty winds, but of course, much, much better news than what we initially expected, which was, a landfall possible in the Carolinas. That, of course, not going to come to fruition, thankfully.
Good to hear. All right, Angie, thank you so much. In Washington, the clock is ticking for President Trump and the leaders of both parties. They're meeting today to try and negotiate a plan to avoid a government shutdown. The current federal funding is set to run out on Wednesday unless Congress acts. NBC News Chief Capitol Hill correspondent Ryan Nobles joins us now with more on what's at stake. Ryan, good morning.
Hey, Joe, good morning. The fact that President Trump is even meeting with congressional leaders today is a sign that there's at least some progress toward avoiding a government shutdown. But even though everyone will be in the same room, there is no sign that either side is ready to give in. It is a last-ditch effort to avoid a government shutdown. President Trump face-to-face with the Democratic leaders in Congress.
God forbid the Republicans shut the government down. The American people will know it's on their back.
What the Democrats have done here is take the federal government as a hostage.
House Republicans passed a short-term spending extension that would last until Thanksgiving, with the goal of giving both sides more time to negotiate.
Right now, we just need a stopgap funding measure to keep the government open so we can have those debates.
But it needs votes from Democrats to pass the Senate, and they want concessions now. The White House is raising the stakes, issuing guidance to federal agencies that should the government shut down, the administration will immediately begin mass layoffs. In an interview with NBC News, President Trump saying that if there is a shutdown, quote, "We are going to cut a lot of people. We're able to cut on a permanent basis, and we will be doing that. I'd rather not do that." But Democrats believe it is nothing more than an intimidation tactic.
We stand by our federal civil servants.
And while both sides haggle, millions of government workers' futures hang in the balance. In addition to the possibility of layoffs, many will be furloughed or forced to work without pay. That includes certain members of the military and agencies like the TSA. Despite the stakes, the president does not seem optimistic a deal can be reached.
These people are crazy, the Democrats. So if it has to shut down, it'll have to shut down.
And another complicating factor is that while the Senate is scheduled to be back in session today, the House is not expected to be back in Washington until after the government shutdown deadline passes. Joe?
All right, Ryan, thank you. The state of Oregon is suing the Trump administration over plans to bring in the National Guard to the city of Portland. The new directive sets up another legal battle testing President Trump's authority to send the military to cities around the country. This all comes as Attorney General Pam Bondi announces plans to send more federal resources to secure ICE facilities nationwide. NBC News senior White House correspondent Gabe Gutierrez joins us now with the very latest. Gabe, good morning.
Joe, good morning. The Trump administration is once again testing the limits of authority. This time, in one of the Democratic-led cities the president repeatedly railed against during his first term. It's setting up yet another legal showdown, with the White House saying the president's actions are lawful and would make Portland safer. Overnight, protest and clashes over President Trump's planned troop deployment to Portland, Oregon. The state's attorney general, joined by the city of Portland, now suing the administration, arguing the president lacks the authority to federalize the National Guard.
Portland is, I don't know how anybody lives there. It's amazing, but it's anarchy out there.
In the court filing, Oregon's Democratic AG providing a memo from the Trump administration with plans to send 200 members of the National Guard to Portland for 60 days. The president, in an exclusive interview with NBC News, calling Portland a hotbed of insurrection.
There is no insurrection. There is no threat to national security, and there is no need for military troops in our major city.
Trump has previously sent troops to Los Angeles and Washington, D.C., and has announced a planned deployment to Memphis while threatening to do so to other Democratic-run cities.
I'd prefer not to have troops in our cities, or I'd prefer them only to come, with the acceptance of the local authorities. But I do think there is a role if the states will not step up.
Meanwhile, after last week's deadly shooting at an ICE field office in Dallas, and the clash between anti-ICE protesters and federal officers Friday at a detention facility outside Chicago, Attorney General Pam Bondi announcing she's deploying agents from the Justice Department to secure ICE buildings nationwide.
We're witnessing a new era of political violence.
It all comes as hundreds of senior military leaders from around the world travel to Quantico, Virginia for a rare gathering called by Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. The president in a phone call with NBC News on Sunday saying he plans to attend.
Let him be friendly with the generals and admirals from all over the world.
It is another busy week for the president. In addition to that meeting with congressional leaders here at the White House, with the shutdown looming, he's also scheduled to meet today with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu as the U.S. intensifies its push for a ceasefire in Gaza.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.